So in this video, we're going to be multiplying a whole number by a fraction. And this will give you a good visual about why it is that we only multiply our numerators by our numerators and our denominators by our denominators for multiplying fractions. So here is a problem. Doris lives 1/4 of a mile from school. If she walks to and from school each day, how far does she walk during a school week? So a chart has been created. We know there are 5 school days in a week, and she walks to school. Each distance is 1/4 of a mile, and she walks home from school. Each distance is 1/4 of a mile. So every day she walks 2 1/4s. According to this chart, we can see that. Monday is 2 1/4s, Tuesday is 2 1/4s. And what is 2 1/4s? 2/4. 2/4 is 2 1/4. So continuing over here, we're looking, we had those 5 2/4. So on Monday was 2/4, Tuesday, 2 of them. So we have how many 1/4s total? We have 5 times 2. So we have 10 1/4s total. So we draw a picture to show all of our quarters lined up. We had 10 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 1/4s. Now, how many quarters are there in one whole? The denominator tells us the total number of equal parts. So that is telling us that there are 4 total equal parts in one whole. Therefore, 4/4 equals 1 whole. So we can notate that right there. And 4 more quarters equals another whole. So there's my 2, because I have 2 wholes now. But I had 10 1/4. So we have 2 more. So I have my 2 wholes and I have 2 more 1/4s. So if I add up all those quarters, I get a grand total of 10 quarters. So 10/4. Now to simplify, this line means what? It means divided by. So 10 divided by 4. It goes into, 4 goes into 10 how many times? 10 divided by 4. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 gives me 8. 8 is as close as I can get. And that means I have 2 left over, because 10 minus 8 is 2. So that gives me, let's go ahead and do this, a visual for you. I've done it in one of our other tutorials, but let's really give you a good visual. 10 divided by 4. So that means 10 divided by 4. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. And I subtract that, I get 2 left over, remainder of 2. Now, when you're dealing with fractions and you have a remainder, that remainder is your numerator. And your denominator is the divisor. So 2 2/4. And that's how we got that 2 2/4. But we can reduce. So I still have my 2 wholes, but my 2/4. What's the greatest common factor between 2 and 4? Because there is a factor that goes into both of those. My greatest common factor is 2. So if I divide 2 by 2, I get 1. And if I divide 4 by 2, I get 2. So that reduces down to 2 1/2. So that was kind of your visual about how repeated addition, those 10 quarters, got us to 2 1/2. So let's look at their explanation here. 10 1/4 miles added together makes 10/4 miles, or 2 1/4 miles. We can also do multiplication. So now I'm going to walk you through the multiplication and show you another visual about how that works. So Doris walked, She walked for a total of 5 days. Each of those days was 2/4 of a mile. So here's our 10 quarters again. This time they have it shaded to show you 2 quarters in one day. So that's her first day, that's her second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day. And each of those days she walks 2 quarters. So we could add those all up, 2 quarters, 5 times. We added 2 quarters, 2 quarters, 2 quarters, all the way up. When we add fractions with the same denominator, we keep the denominator and we add our numerator, so 10/4. And then we do that same division that we did here, but this time we already get that most reduced form. So now we're going to see what it looks like with multiplication. I have 5 groups, that's my 5 days, of 2/4, because she walks 5 days and each day she walks 2/4 of a mile. So if we were to look at this as a fraction, this is going to have a denominator of 1. When we multiply fractions, we multiply our numerator times our numerator, denominator times our denominator. So my numerator times my numerator is 5 times 2, and we have our big division bar. Denominator times our denominator, 4 times 1, which is, we can write like that. And now we can solve. 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 times 4 is 4. And we got the same exact thing. We go through the same exact process. 10 divided by 4, we get 2. 2 times 4 is 8 with a remainder of 2. So 2 2/4, which reduces to 2 1/2. And our units are 2 1/2 miles. Okay, so we did that. We could have also done it like this, 10 1/4, and we would have gotten the same answer because she walked a 1/4 mile each time, and she had a total of 10 times walking that distance. So numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So that would give us 10/4, which equals 10 divided by 4 is 2, and 2/4, which reduces to 2 1/2 miles.